Atmospheric rivers can cause all sorts of problems for us this time of the year. We'll look at the science behind these big weather makers and their sometimes devastating impacts.
You lift things up and water's underneath and you're just like, wow, it's everywhere.
We'll show you how one local elementary school is recovering from last spring's flooding.
The microclimates are incredible around here, and the weather is so varied in these different climates. The human being giving us observations are really important.
We'll explain why local weather observers play a critical role in forecasting winter weather.
It's interesting watching it. I never get tired of it.
And get ready to hit the slopes. From Mount Ashland to Warner Canyon and Willamette Pass down to Mount Shasta, we'll have your ski season preview for all of our local ski areas. Those stories and much more, along with your winter outlook, is all ahead on the StormTracker 12 Winter Forecast.
The StormTracker 12 Winter Forecast Special.
Winter is almost here, and the StormTracker 12 weather team is making sure you're prepared. Thanks for joining us for the StormTracker 12 Winter Forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman.
And I'm Meteorologist Sara, and we're up here at beautiful Crater Lake, where last winter we received 550 inches of snow, which is 7 feet above average.
We'll have to see if this is another big winter season of snow for Crater Lake.
And over the next half an hour, we're going to break down how future and current weather patterns could impact your winter plans.
And as we get into the winter season, let's take a look at where we stand with the drought. All right, let's take a look at the latest update to the drought monitor. As of November 18th, we are looking pretty good in southern Oregon and northern California. You can see, though, drought moderate to severe up to the north in the Pacific Northwest. Here in southern Oregon and northern California, we're actually starting off in a better spot than a year ago heading into winter. Looking at the water year numbers, we are running a little bit below normal as of late, except in Mount Shasta with a pretty decent surplus above 2 inches. We could use more rain and snow, though, as we head into winter. Take a look at our lake and reservoir levels. A lot of them looking pretty low, especially Applegate Lake at 9% and 4 Mile Lake at 10%. So we'll hope for plenty of rain and snow as we head through the winter. We talk about them a lot this time of the year, atmospheric rivers, but what are they? Well, they're kind of like an actual river. An atmospheric river is a large, narrow band of continuous moisture up in the sky. These giant bands of water vapor pull up moisture from the tropics thanks to strong low pressure systems. As the moisture moves inland and forced upwards thanks to the terrain, the moisture cools, condenses, and starts producing rain and, if cold enough, snow. Depending on the duration and severity of the atmospheric river, we can see very heavy amounts of rain, snow, and even the potential for flooding and mudslides. The areas most sensitive to heavy rain from atmospheric rivers are the burn scars from recent fires. After a fire rolls through, the high-intensity heat makes soils less absorbent or hydrophobic. This increases the likelihood of flooding and debris flows, along with erosion and sediment runoff into waterways. Within a month of the fire being put out, specialists are brought in to do a simple water droplet test, like this one from the Dillon Fire burn scar. They time how long it takes for a drop of water to be absorbed by the soil. The longer the time, the more severe the soil alteration. Small patches of hydrophobic soils are common after fires, but when it spreads over large areas, it becomes a serious concern, especially in winter. We'll need to closely monitor our burn scars in the months ahead.
HERO is an acronym Fort Vanoy Elementary uses to teach kids about character. Honesty, excellence, respect, and open-mindedness. Last March, when floodwaters rushed through the school, students, staff, and the community showed exactly what it looks like to be a hero. My first thought was, as soon as I opened the door, like, water just came rushing out. It had been building up inside this building in particular, and it just came rushing out, and I was just like, oh, that's a lot of water. 8 months ago, an atmospheric river brought days of heavy rain across the region. At Fort Vanoy Elementary, water didn't just rise, it surged.
Fort Vanoy River. The irrigation behind the school had, the levee had started to overflow and started to come apart, and then all of a sudden it just went, and there it came. They were in the right place at the right time to make sure there was nobody in harm's way.
All of this happened on a Sunday when no one was on campus. Thankfully, that first warning came from Rural Metro Fire responding to a stranded motorist nearby.
The school was built kind of in a floodplain. It's built very low, so we always experience some degree of infiltration with rainwater when it really, really rains. So with this storm situation that we had last year, we were anticipating it, but not to this level.
When the school closed, Principal Falkenhagen and Superintendent Valenzuela knew they were in for a challenge, getting the students back as soon as possible. Teachers doubled up classrooms, maintenance crews hauled gravel and debris, families showed up with tools, trucks, and even backhoes to get a school that many community members grew up in ready for students to return. And by Wednesday, Fort Vanoy Elementary was open again.
Get 2 meals here, they get a lot of other resources when they're here. So when we're closed, they can't access those things. So not beyond reading and writing and all the things that we teach them here, the support is really important.
Classrooms may have not looked the same, but the students don't seem to mind.
We're trying to work with our design team and then our construction team on making it a little bit more resistant to flooding. We're really looking to next summer of 26, to do a full rebuild and flood restoration during that time.
Earlier this year, the Oregon Department of Transportation dealt with statewide hiring freeze that slowed the onboarding of new staff. With the promise of funding back in September from the transportation bill signed by Governor Tina Kotek, ODOT says they've since been able to fill several permanent and seasonal positions.
We're stockpiling our materials like sand and de-icer, and we're training our new crews so that they're ready to respond as soon as that winter weather hits.
The transportation bill is designed to help maintain roads, bridges, and transit agencies and prevent the future staffing cuts. But ODOT will have to watch its budget closely. Uncertainty lies ahead as petitions filled by Oregonians could put the bill on hold until voters weigh in during the November midterms. And Jackson County Emergency Management is expanding its alert testing program to improve coordination and public awareness, making sure that people have information and resources they need to stay safe all winter long. Wireless emergency alerts, or WEAs, have a distinct loud notification sound. For example, amber alerts are the most common types of WEAs.
Whether it's avoiding a hazardous area, seeking shelter, avoiding unsafe roads. The wireless emergency alerts come straight to your phone automatically. You don't have to sign up for anything.
The goal is to reach people quickly with instructions they can follow right away, whether you live in Jackson County or are just passing through the area. A test performed on November 6th confirmed that the system is working as intended and helped emergency managers fine-tune geo-targeting and message coordination heading into the winter season.
Weather observations are critical to not only the StormTracker 12 weather team, but to meteorologists across the world. They play a big role in forecasting the weather. In my nearly 8 years here at Newswatch 12 and well before, we've been lucky to have a dedicated weather watcher named Nancy Green, keeping an eye to the sky for us up in Prospect. Sara and I can always depend on her emails each and every day, updating us on the weather in Prospect. Nancy and her husband moved to town back in 2004.
My main checking is usually in the evening, around 4:30, 4 o'clock. But I do watch it during the day. I'm not an early riser, but I do. That's the first thing I check is the weather, how cold it was when I get up.
Nancy's precisely placed weather station and rain gauge allows her to take detailed logs of high and low temperatures and rain totals. She's also got snow covered.
I got a ruler. I go out there and stick it in.
Nancy's fascination for weather began as a kid watching the thunderstorms down in California. That passion for weather has remained over the years.
But it's interesting watching it. I never get tired of it.
Weather observations like Nancy's are critical with the amount of microclimates we have here in our region.
We really rely on people's observations to tell us what's going on in the different microclimates. We need that stuff in order to verify the forecast and to know what's happening.
Tom Wright runs the Cooperative Observer Program for the National Weather Service, where 50 observers take weather observations and provide climate data from around Southern Oregon and Northern California. While that program is full, the Coco Ross program is always looking for more weather observers.
That's a good place for the average person to start producing weather observations. Is you buy a rain gauge and you just submit observations to their website.
The National Weather Service and our StormTracker 12 weather team will always take weather observations and reports on our social media pages. We love to see your snow and rain reports this winter season. For more details on the Coco Ross weather program, head over to kdrv.com.
Coming up, it won't be long until we're hitting the slopes this winter. We'll take a look at what skiers and riders can expect on our local ski areas this season.
And a little later, the Rogue Valley has been in the spotlight quite a bit this year. I'll show you how tourism has been booming and folks aren't just visiting in the summer.
But first, it's time for some trivia. Our first freeze came quite late this year in Medford, but it wasn't a record. So when was the latest first freeze in Medford? A, November 21st, B, December 5th, C, November 28th, or D, December 10th. I'll have the answer when we return.